the Basic Education Learning Continuity Plan of the City Schools Division of Tandag in the time of COVID-19. Presenting the highlights of the Basic Education Learning Continuity Plan of the City Schools Division of Tandag. In view of the recent declaration of National Public Health Emergency and Code Red Alert Sub-Level 1 in relation to the recent developments of the Coronavirus Disease 2019, the City Government of Tandag called for a joint emergency meeting with the local health board, Interagency Task Force for the Management of Emerging and Re-emerging Infectious Diseases, and Liga ng mga Barangay to discuss the actions to be taken, compliant to the existing guidelines from DOH, DILG, DepEd and other agencies. Mayor Roxanne Pimentel presided over the meeting on March 9, 2020 at the CMO conference room. Following that day, Honorable Roxanne Pimentel issued Executive Order No. 6 institutionalizing the comprehensive guidelines for COVID-19 prevention and containment in Tandag. Among the most essential are the following provisions. All government-sponsored activities within Tandag City are hereby suspended immediately. Government and private offices, business establishments, schools, hotels, motels, inns, banks, public terminals, among others, are required to provide disinfectants for public use before entering and leaving their premises. On March 13, 2020, Mayor Roxanne Pimentel issued another executive order to further strengthen precautionary measures against COVID-19. This executive order specifically suspends classes, travels, social events, night markets at the boulevards, and other crowd-drawing activities in the entire city. On the 19th of the same month, Mayor Roxanne Pimentel called for an orientation meeting to talk about the process and actions taken in the existing checkpoints as day 2 of partial lockdowns. Checkpoints and curfew took effect in Tandag. Nurses from DepEd, volunteers from Red Cross, and BFP Personnel attended the said meeting in preparation for deployment to our checkpoints. Committed to supporting the LGU's action towards public health and safety, the City Schools Division of Tandag immediately issued on February 5, 2020, a memorandum to its nurses to compose the Division Task Force immediately with the emergence of a novel coronavirus. As approved by the Regional Office on April 30, upon request of the City Local Government Unit of Tandag, Buena Vista National High School was utilized as a quarantine isolation facility area for persons under monitoring. As a general community quarantine commenced on May 1, the City LGU of Tandag had the BNHS school ground graveled and graded. Classroom windows were screened where the beds with bedding are placed. City and Barangay LGUs worked hand in hand to accommodate our homecoming constituents with comfort. Of the 573 teachers in the division, only 32.98% have laptops or desktops and Wi-Fi at home. The same number is true to those with laptops or desktops but have no internet connection. 1.6% of them have laptops or desktops at home but with no internet signal available in the area. 32.98% have no laptops or desktops at home. 57.76% have smartphones or tablets with internet access at home, while 35.42% have the said gadgets but without internet access at home. Lastly, 6.8% have no smartphones or tablets, and only 0.17% has undergone training on distance learning. On the other hand, the division survey on the start of classes reveals that 71% out of 573 respondents prefer to have the start of classes in August 2020. The topmost concern falls on health and safety and quality education, while others are also concerned on their access to education and finances. Addressing the challenges in education brought about by the pandemic, DepEd has designed various modalities to make learning opportunities available to every learner. Adoption of various learning delivery options such as, but not limited to, blended learnings, distance learnings, homeschooling, and other modes of delivery shall be implemented, depending on the local COVID risk severity classification and compliance with minimum health standard. To this effect, The Learning Continuity Plan of the City Schools Division of Tandag is hereby crafted with acknowledgement of the fears and apprehensions of the learners, parents, and teachers that attending schools in August might still not be safe in light of COVID-19. This Learning Continuity Plan assures everyone that DepEd Tandag will observe all guidelines of DOH and the IATF on whether the risk classifications in a locality will allow face-to-face attendance in school or not. With acknowledgement also of those who have expressed full faith and support for DepEd, Tandag City will implement a Safe Back to Schools program consisting of health standards that will ensure everyone's safety. The incoming school year will have a modified guidelines for the enrollment procedure. Enrollment for school year 2020 to 2021 shall primarily be administered remotely. The first 2 weeks shall completely be remote enrollment, where there will be absolutely no face-to-face. Submissions of the accomplished LESF shall be done remotely through emails, messengers, and other means of electronic submission. Physical submission of learner enrollment and survey form to school or barangay hall shall be the last option and shall only be done by parents or guardians of enrollment period. Therefore, for learners already in the system, teachers will contact their students from the previous year and encode survey information using LIS. Enrollment focal persons will be designated to receive calls and queries from parents for incoming learners for kindergarten, transferees, balik-aral, and ALS learners. As of today, DepEd Tandag City Division has an enrollment of 2,152 for kindergarten to grade 6, 384 for junior high school, and 365 for senior high school, with a total of 2,901 enrollees for public schools only. The Learning Continuity Plan of Tandag City Division outlines 8 facets, given the anticipated disruption in face-to-face holding of classes and the need for social distancing. Distance learning will be a major component of learning delivery for the incoming school year. 1. Prepare learners to acquire skills necessary for success in the next school year. Remedial classes, compliant to the guidelines in the conduct of remedial, enrichment, and advancement classes are conducted by the schools from May 11 to July 31 to increase the percentage of learners with passing grade. 2. Map out learning contexts and types of learners at the division and school levels. There will be mapping of the barangays where the learners are residing, including local learning venues like local libraries and barangay reading centers and knowledge holders or resource persons who may support the delivery of basic education. The learning contexts and types of learners in the division level were also mapped. The number of learners and teachers with access to internet or signal in their households was also determined, including ownership and availability of portable electronic devices like laptops and their capacity in the sustainability of its use. The number of learners who need instructional packets was also determined. 3. Align learning materials with available curriculum standards. List of most essential learning competencies for each week of the school year and for each subject area and grade level was downloaded. An inventory of all available quality-assured learning materials and resources for all types of learners through the education program supervisors and the identified teachers was conducted. All available materials like modules, alternative delivery mode, alternative learning system both printed and radio, open educational resources, DepEd Commons, Braille, Daisy, and Starbooks, among others. Additional learning materials like modules will be designed and developed to ensure that all essential learning competencies are covered. The division will ensure that the lesson exemplars, supplementary learning materials, including assessment mechanisms, are aligned with the competencies and are adaptive in the different modes of learning, either online or offline or blended. The division has downloaded and shared the matrix of curriculum standards with corresponding recommended flexible learning delivery modes and materials per grading period in all subject areas and grade levels to the education program supervisors and school heads. Quality assurance is being processed for the ADM modules by enriching discussion points and adding more practice exercises. The preparation of multimedia like video lessons and session learning episodes for use of identified teachers on air continues. These will be uploaded online. The division will also train teachers for onboard ethics to be observed during classes on air for radio-based instruction. There will be reproduction of modules and other available quality assured materials for learners' use both online and offline. It has released guidelines to the field on the contextualization of quality assured learning materials according to learners' context and types of learners in their area. Language is also considered for kindergarten and grades 1 to 3. There will be a division-level contextualization of learning materials. 4. Utilize ICT systems and other available media. Learners with ICT equipment such as computers, mobile phones or pads, and other digital devices and have access to internet can continue learning through the DepEd Commons, DepEd Learning Resources Portal, ICT for ALS application developed by UNICEF with DepEd ALS teachers, and the Aral Muna application. DepEd Commons can be accessed free through Smart and Globe. ALS teachers can also save the soft copies of ALS modules in the cell phones or mobile devices or pads of their learners, if available or when circumstances allow. With support from partners, innovations will be introduced to update the learning delivery mode while ensuring the integrity of online assessments. Teachers and learners were surveyed in terms of their readiness for online and blended digital learning. The relevance of available online educational resources, CDs, and other learning resources were validated against the identified competencies. Locally developed ADMs will be converted into digital formats to be used for online learning and offline as well. The modules will be printed for those who are learning offline. The division office will purchase and install transmitter, transistor radios, and loudspeakers for classes on air in the implementation of radio-based instruction. 5. Capacitate school officials and teachers who are knowledgeable in the design and execution of various NF2F learning delivery options. To prepare our teachers and school leaders for multiple learning delivery modalities, they shall be capacitated to implement the learning delivery systems consistent with DepEd's professional development framework and professional standards. They will be introduced to the learning delivery modalities that they can readily utilize according to the context of the community. Technology solutions are very important in distance learning. Online platform is regarded to be the most advanced because of its ability to facilitate various interactive and remote activities and carry a broad range of content. Online platform is regarded to be the most advanced because of its ability to facilitate various interactive and remote activities and carry a broad range of content to a connected community. Teachers would have to be trained in the use of technology for learning delivery. Teachers in the division have been attending webinars, duly recognized by the Department of Education. School officials and teachers who are competent in designing and implementing the non-face-to-face learning delivery options were determined, as well as the number of teachers in need of capacity building for specific non-face-to-face learning delivery options. The administrators will be trained in monitoring, enrolling students, updating the calendar, broadcasting announcements, and issuing memoranda, certificates, and awards using the learning management system. An instructional plan will be prepared on how to incorporate the different media. 6. Orient learners and parents about the different approaches in gaining access to learning resources and communicating with teachers. Distance learning is not new to DepEd. There are existing alternative delivery modes in schools which are not confined to online or digital platforms. However, the scale of deployment to these ADMs is small, and now is the first time that these will be employed on the large scale, thus presenting key operational challenges in implementation. The division will create the communication plan for ensuring learners and parents' awareness of the approaches relevant to their situation. It will capacitate school officials and teachers in implementing the communication plan. It will likewise create a tech support team where there is an identified person assigned for every type of technical support. Hence, it is not necessary that teachers alone have the responsibility to conduct online or blended classes. There will also be an orientation to students and parents on the learning management system, digital citizenship, academic honesty, plagiarism, and intellectual property. Parents and identified knowledge sources will be oriented on the instructional plan and how they will deliver the content to their kids if they are K-3 learners. For working parents, they may opt to having knowledge source that will give instructional guidance to learners as may be appropriate to the learner's context. 7. Ensure a safe and conducive learning environment. With a learner-oriented framework, the reforms articulated in this learning continuity plan are aligned in the 4 pillars of Sulong Edukalidad, K-12 review and update, improving the learning environment, to continue learning and for teachers to be able to deliver instruction in a safe work and learning environment amidst the threat of COVID-19. It is clear that distance learning will be a key modality. Filipino learners are guaranteed relevant and quality basic education amidst COVID-19. The office will further disseminate to the field the follow-up issuance of DepEd to explain how the most essential learning competencies. 8. Tap other stakeholders to ensure quality delivery of distance education and/or blended learning. In line with the 4th pillar of Sulong Edukalidad, which is to increase the engagement of stakeholders for support and collaboration, Tandag City Division will be providing the professional development priorities for teachers and school leaders for the incoming school year, which includes training programs in light of COVID-19. The division places great emphasis on the importance of maintaining clear communication, consultation, and coordination with learners, teachers, parents, and other stakeholders. It encourages transparency with all education stakeholders and the correction of misinformation to appease public doubts and worries. The division office is also doing environment scanning for the collection of inputs from stakeholders that will help inform our decisions. Involved community and local stakeholders shall strictly comply with protocols on social distancing and regulated gathering of people volunteers in schools consistent with the IATF health protocols, DOH protection protocols, local quarantine rules, and all other relevant protocols outlined in DepEd issuance and subsequent DepEd Task Force COVID-19 issuances. The school heads shall ensure that psychological first aid or other psychological interventions, together with debriefing, are conducted in partnership with stakeholders during the implementation of Brigada Eskwela. The division will likewise update the school emergency and contingency plans and communicate to all stakeholders on how they can support schools to ensure resiliency. It will collaborate with various stakeholders to guarantee the proper implementation of the Learning Continuity Plan. Stakeholders will highly be engaged towards contributing to the needs of the education sector at this critical time. Further, it will continue to engage with the local government units, civil society organizations, parent-teachers associations, community leaders, and other stakeholders for transparency and accountability. Communication shall play a major role in getting the support of stakeholders in implementing the Division Learning Continuity Plan. Topping all these endeavors are the following: Mayor's commitment to fund the reproduction of modules in the amount of 875,000 pesos. Time slot for DepEd through Morningstar Cable TV in the amount of 75,000 pesos per month. And getting a slot for radio-based instruction through Radio Pilipinas. Learning opportunities shall be available and learning shall continue in the time of COVID-19. Sulong Edukalidad, learning never stops. The Basic Education Learning Continuity Plan of the City Schools Division of Tandag in the time of COVID-19.